Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Real Phil Belk channel. I am the Real Phil Belk, and I am going off the beaten path just a little bit today. All right, let me get myself out of the way here so that I can share with you this article that was sent to me on social media a little wee time ago, and it's been something that I've been wanting to share with y'all for quite a while, especially with the economic climate that has been going on over the last couple of weeks. So, the article is entitled Why Pay with Cash. It's by someone called Penny Wise, which I'm sure has to be some sort of pen name or a pun or something. Why pay with cash as opposed to a bank card everywhere you go? I have a $50 bill in my wallet, and when I eat at a restaurant, I'll pay for my meal with it. The restaurant owner uses that $50 to pay his bill at the dry cleaner. The dry cleaner, $50 for his haircut. Hairdresser, $50 for groceries. You get the idea. That $50 is able to be used for unlimited transactions. Over on the other column, what if I go to the restaurant and pay for my meal, my $50 meal with a debit or credit card? The cost of my digital payment, which is billed to the restaurant owner as a percentage, is an average of 2.5% or $1.25. It's a transaction fee or a service fee or whatever you want to call it. The restaurant owner then pays the dry cleaner digitally. The dry cleaner pays the hairdresser digitally. Every single time a transaction occurs digitally, there's a bit of a fee that is put on this bundle of money that keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller with every transaction fee. After 40 transactions, that $50 has become property of the bank because of all the transaction fees. Makes sense, right? So, who's winning in this case? Well, certainly not you or I. It's the bank. Did Nathan or Mayor Amsher Rothschild actually make the statement, "Give me control of a nation's money, and I care not who makes its laws"? Well, we can check. No one can really attribute this saying to the Rothschilds. That doesn't make it any less true. Whoever controls the money controls the people. They control the freedom. They control the transactions. They control the economy. Phil, where are you going with this? Well, I'll tell you. I'll tell you right here. Bank of England tells ministers to intervene on digital currency programming? What's digital currency? Well, digital currency is kind of like Bitcoin. It's operated on an algorithm or a blockchain or whatever. I really don't know a whole lot about it myself, other than it's all electronic, and it's based on calculations that, like Satoshis, that bundle together into a blockchain, and it's called work. And so apparently, Bitcoin or whatever this other stuff is has some sort of intrinsic value based on the work of the calculations put into it. Digital currency, on the other hand, is just as worthless as our paper fiat currency. The only reason why our fiat currency has any, our paper money has any intrinsic value to it, which it doesn't, it has value to it because the government says it does. They can create this stuff with a mouse click, you know. Same thing with digital currency, except that it's still on a blockchain, but they can create it no matter what to the government or the central bank. And so this digital currency is something that they would like to probably implement at some point. You go to the Canadian website, they're working on it. You go to the American website, they're working on it. I think Nigeria's already got it. China already has a digital yuan. It's something that's coming down the pipe. Why do I have a problem with it? I'm glad you asked, because I'll tell you. This is behind a paywall. So what I did is I actually copied the article, dumped it in a notepad before the paywall went burp. So here we go. I don't know if y'all can read that. I'm sure it's fine. Bank of England has called on ministers. Oh, January 6th, 2020. Sorry, June 6th, 2021. This was made. While we were all locked in our houses, they were talking about this. Bank of England has called on ministers to decide whether a central bank digital currency should be programmable. Programmable. Ultimately giving the issuer control over how it's spent by the recipient? That's interesting, isn't it? What a funny thought. Tom Mutton, director at the Bank of England, said during a conference on Monday that programming could become a key feature of any future central bank digital currency in which money would be programmed to be released only when something happened. Only when something happened. Like a crisis. An economic crisis. Okay. He said you could introduce programmability. What happens if one of the participants in a transaction puts a restriction on the future use of the money? There could be socially beneficial outcomes from that. What, from controlling how the money is spent? Okay. Preventing activity which is seen to be socially harmful in some way. But at the same time, it could be a restriction on people's freedoms. So you'd have, what governing body would be the one that decides if something is socially harmful or not? I guess that would be one question. And then who's the gatekeeper of that and who decides that? Well, sounds like a central bank or a government or something. He warned that the government would be required to intervene and make the final decision. Oh, yeah, I like to make my decisions. I don't want the government coming in and making decisions for me and how I spend my money. Mr. Mutton said that's a really delicate debate that needs to be had. It's not something we can settle ourselves. That's for the government to lead on. Thank you, government. Please protect me. Here's my freedom to decide how I spend my money, and you protect me and decide if I'm going to do something that's socially harmful. A digital currency could make payments faster, cheaper, safer, but it opens up new technological possibilities, including programming, effectively allowing a party in transactions such as a state or an employer to control how the money is spent by the recipient. Wow. Did they mean to say this part out loud? One potential use could be to control over benefits payments. What one potential use could be control over benefits payments, said Sandra Rowe, a chief executive of the Global Blockchain Business Council. She compared a programmed digital currency to the U.S. system of paying benefits and vouchers, as it could have a similar goal of restricting the recipient to buying only essentials such as food with the money. So if I got a paycheck, you could program the digital currency in my paycheck to just be for essentials. Theoretically. Earlier this month, Sir John Cunliffe, a deputy governor at the bank, said digital currencies could be programmed for commercial or social purposes, even down to the way children spend pocket money. He told Sky News, you could think of smart contracts, which is part of the whole transaction that's being used in Bitcoin and in the blockchain. You could think of smart contracts in which the money would be programmed to be released only if something happened. Oh, there's that if something happened again. You could think of giving your children pocket money, but programming the money so it couldn't be used for sweets. There is a whole range of things that the money could do, programmable money, but which we cannot do with the current technology. No. A Treasury spokesman said programmability is a potential feature of a central bank digital currency. The task force is coordinating the exploration of a potential CBDC, and no decisions have been taken on whether to introduce a CBDC in the UK or its design. All right. So, in digesting that, all I can say is hold on to cash. I think that that is something that gives you freedom. There's even talk that I've seen offline of, having that money go into your account like a universal basic income or a benefit or whatever. And it's like it expires. It has an expiry time period. So that way you can very easily control M2 money supply, but also the velocity of money. You can force money to go into services, essentials. You could essentially almost shut down businesses, right? Say a current government is not friendly to hunters and target shooters. You could essentially have no money be allowed to spend at those stores. Perhaps you were not following along with environmental social governance rules very well. They could essentially stop stop customers from being able to spend money at your business due to your ESG score. That's really interesting. Think of the ramifications of that. Think of if you don't have enough diversity in your hiring due to local demographics or something like that. Even the best you do, you try to hire as much diversity as possible, and you just don't hit that score. What happens then? What happens about if you have like too much carbon, right? Now, bear with me. I'm going and taking it to a higher level, right? I am going a little bit towards the China social credit system that they currently have there, right? If you've had too much carbon that month, you bought diesel fuel, or you ate too much red meat, carbon footprint, blah blah blah. ESG scores, DE and I. Think of how you can influence an economy. You can do a lot of great things with it, but you can also refocus a lot of power and control, and you can also take away a lot of people's freedom to choose. You can force them to choose things that obviously go with whatever agenda that country wants, or that central bank wants, or that company wants. Pretty interesting. But to be looked at as if you're forced to have a certain score based on certain things that you may not have control over, to me is terrifying. I don't think that we as a society should stop using cash and give up our control of our money and how we spend it, and give it up to a government or a central bank or anyone that thinks that they can tell us what to do with our money or make us spend our money better than we know. Yeah, if you're an idiot with your money, that's just how it is. That doesn't mean that all of a sudden now you need to have, you get your welfare check or your social security check and you go out and buy a bunch of Crown Royal with it. You're an idiot. Why does the government have to tell you you can't buy that much rye, you need to buy some food? I don't believe the government should have that kind of control. Anyway, I know I went off on a little bit of a tangent here, and I went off on different direction that I normally do. But this is something that I think we all need to think about. Giving up this level of control to a digital currency and turning away from cash. I want everyone to think about it. If you agree with me, sure, but know why you agree with me. If you don't agree with me, comments, likes, dislikes, discuss with me, message me. I'm on LinkedIn. Comment to the video. I'm on Facebook on the Real Phil Belk page, and let's talk. Let's find out what everyone's thinking, because to me, this level of control, it could get terrifying. I don't think it's going to happen today, tomorrow. Probably won't even happen in the next couple of years. But with the way the economy is going, with the way certain agendas are being pushed, we know that ESG is being forced through regulation. I think that it's something we really need to discuss and go, hey, at what point does the government have too much control? The central banks have too much control? Does the technocrats have too much control? Anyway, like, share, subscribe, or hate it. Tell me why in the comments. Thank you for listening, everyone. Bye-bye.